This is a classic.
I want to listen deep house. You want to deep house collab, mate?
Actually, to really think I care that you're mad at me when you took a knife and put it in the back of me. Love like a Shakespeare tragedy, the alchemy of you and me makes it NAK in catastrophe. You're the OG in apologies. You're out at the end and it's last to me, and now you're out running your mouth, talking your shit so loud. Do yourself a favor, turn it down. I'ma let them know what you're about. Tell me, do you like the taste of the medicine that you made? Did it feel, babe, you're to blame. Now you lost your advantage. I'm up to here, yeah, had it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for ACC Racing. Why is the game? There we go. Thank you. We are here for ACC Racing at Box3 Motorsports. Thank you so much for being here. It is the finale of season 3. We are at Monza today. We're going to see what kind of trouble we can get into as we ping and make sure the server is up. Let's get in there. That's weird, but okay. Weird flex, but we'll do it. And I will say, hey, Whelp Cakes, what's going on in the chat? Thank you for being here, my man. Hey, by the way, I did not ignore your message. I saw it. I just haven't answered yet because I've been busy. I'm on vacation this week, but we had guests this weekend, so I wanted to make sure that when I answered you, I had time to, you know, answer you correctly and properly and everything else. So. And there we go. We are connected, ready to go as our drivers head out on track for a very quick pre-practice session that will last about another 8 minutes or so. We will jump over there and get ready for racing at Monza today. Now, what I'm going to find real curious is, and I think we should keep an eye on it as I focus right there on Frank Reynolds, the Warthog, back on track. Brian Davis is back in the pit. Kenny O'Connor returns. What I think is going to be very interesting today to see how it goes. Throughout season 3, our AM and rookie class drivers have really been the, let's call it, cleaner drivers as we watch one of them go skirting off into the bush. So Monza, infamous for turn 1, you know, coming down a long straight, gets you very fast, and then directly into a very hard right-left chicane. Who's going to do it better today? Is it going to be the rookies? Is it the NEM drivers? Or is it going to be the pro and silver class drivers? We're going to have to wait and find out. But we're here for 45 minutes of racing with our AM class drivers. And we will also be here for an hour-long race for pro and silver. Mandatory pit stop today is tires and fuel. So everybody's going to spend that full 30 seconds in the pits. But let's get switched over right now and take a look at people on track, and hopefully things stay connected. We can track those pit stops. Hot take, second chicane is more deadly. It probably is. You're not wrong, especially in lap 1 when everybody's still bunched up. I think the reason Monza is so, let's call it, infamous for this is mainly because of the fact that, you know what? Number one, it's a really long straight, right? Like, this is a long straight into this chicane. Number 2, everybody's bunched up coming out of this, and it's just such a hard, and this is not the only track, right? We see this in other places. Monza's famous for it because of the public servers. Now, one other thing you have to watch for here, and you guys kind of just saw it there, the pit exit comes all the way down, that white line carrying almost all the way down to T1. So as pit stops start to happen, I have to wait and see how it works with folks and how well they are able to come out of the pits. You know, coming out of the pits that close to that corner, you're not on your racing line. You're not going to be at full speed, but you're also not on your racing line, so it does throw things off a little bit for folks that are leaving the pits. As I said, Brian Davis back out on track today, somewhere. There he is, looking very fancy in that Box 3 livery. Alex Martin returns this week. The one person we are missing is Mr. Ricard. Mr. Ricard is traveling today and will not be able to join us, but it looks, and let's take a look. We're going to review it real quick. There are your current AM standings as things sit right now. Louis Ricard in his Ferrari 488 GT3 sitting in first place. He's going to be able to hold on to that today. He performed fantastic during this season. More than likely will be getting bumped up in season 4 to probably silver class. But Daniel Range, Nikolai Tiabuk, both in contention for P2. Now, I'm unsure what the disqualification is there on Daniel, and the stewards and everybody will have to work that out, but both those guys in contention, and honestly, Mr. Ploop right up there with them in contention for P2 as well to finish out this season. So we'll have to see how today's race plays out. That is your top 10, but Stephen Dunn returns. You see there sitting the fastest lap during this practice session. And still no livery from Mr. Dunn. And I did do a refresh on my client right before today's race. People keep moving around on me. Nikolai Tsibuk deciding to stay in the pits for this free practice session that will wind up in just 4.5 minutes. Philip Dolshan out on track today. And Manu is there. Manu, your livery works, sir. We got that straightened out right before the beginning of today's race. MZ Motorsports out at Monza today. Josh Butler back and driving in his Honda. Terrell Seens Taylor returns. Another Honda on track today. Bob Charlton, and as we spoke about, Mr. Ploop is back and will be making a run for P2 in Season 3. Isn't it awesome, Well Cakes? It really is. A few guys have struggled with it, right? Have had some trouble getting their liveries to upload, things like that. I don't know if you saw the video I posted. You guys are welcome to use that to help people kind of walk through how things work if you need to. But yeah, it's a fantastic tool. It was so manual previously where it's upload, you know, they upload to Discord and then we had to, you know, DJ and TG would go in and they would have to then move it over to, you know, check it, move it over to a different channel, all these things. And then I would have to go download them every week and manually move them into the, you know, unzip them, move them into the folders. Now it's just, boop. Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. Give me a second. I'll make sure you have it. Let's put it that way. Well, the reason I say I'll go ahead and get that for you is probably because I pushed it to my channel, not the Box 3. There you go, sir. A little free promotion for myself, and it gets you right over to that video. The only thing in there is there is a mistake in the video because I didn't realize how things work. Make sure you guys understand that when using the showcase, when you're using the showcase, if they don't want their vehicle shared, you know, their livery, if they don't want that shared publicly, they should hide the showcase. The league will still be able to see and download that livery. You know, so they'll still be able to use that livery as the league, but it won't appear in the public showcase. There was one mistake I made during that video that I just corrected with a message instead of re-recording the whole thing. So that was on our Discord, but they should know that as well. The showcase is only if they want it to be public to anyone who uses the site, not just your league. So far against Stephen Dunn, holding a 150.167 for the fastest lap during this free practice session, but we will be getting into qualifying here in just a moment. And as we've seen throughout the entire season, really we get our real times during qualifying. These guys go out and push. They're looking to set good laps during free practice, but we usually see at least half, or if not a full second of time come off a lot of times from free practice to qualification, whether they've dialed things in during this quick 10 minutes and are a little more stable in the car. It's just a few practice laps, whatever it is that gets them going. They seem to do much better during qualification. Right now, Stephen Dunn holding purple in sectors 2 and 3 with Josh Butler sitting in P2 right there, having finished out and holding sector 1 as purple thus far. Obviously, Josh doing very well here at Monza. More late joiners. Your boy Blue is now on track today in this AM class and rookie class race. As we said, Alex Martin out and ready to go. And I have to say, Rydia Davies, that livery is just fantastic. Very colorful. Very fancy looking BMW on track today. As we wait for qualification to get started here for our first race of 2 at Monza. Let's not forget, coming up next weekend, next Saturday, July 23rd. Let me check. Did I say that right? Yeah, next Saturday, July 23rd, 12 hours of Barcelona, Box 3 Motorsports. We have a full paddock for this race. Full paddock. 50 teams of drivers coming out for the 12 hours of Barcelona. As you see, that's going to start at 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can catch all that action right here at Box 3 Motorsports. And after that, if you enjoy endurance racing, the 6-hour endurance series returns with 949 and Trackalicious. We're back here on August 20th for Mount Panorama, one of my favorite tracks. A little over a month out, but I am champing at the bit to get to this thing because I love the mountain. I love watching it eat cars, and I don't have to drive it. I sit up here in judgment over our drivers, but it's going to be so much fun. Panorama's great, and these guys do a great job of driving to ensure we get plenty of entertainment. It's absolutely fantastic. As we head back out on track, our drivers ready now for qualification as they run their out laps. Learn more about this software every time. Nate's livery. Who's Nate? I don't see a Nate. TG, I will tell you this. I just updated my liveries from the site right before the race. So I have everybody's livery who uploaded it to the site. There he is now. Let's check in on him. Your boy Blue joining late during the free practice. We didn't get to give a little focus to him. Out in his Bentley. As we said last week, very curious. There's no Bentleys in the Pro and Silver class. But we have them. They were so meta for so long, and there's... It's just odd to me that we still see Bentleys. I mean, we got 3 of them in today's AM class race. Your boy Blue being one of them. TJ, I'd rather you upload it. I do not know that I'll have time to set liveries into folders and everything before the start of that race, but I can certainly bounce my client and pull it down. Somebody already, looks like Josh Butler already through the runoff at T1. And there go more. My goodness. Right there, Andrei Semenov joining late today again, like Blue, and jumping right through there. Right through the runoff already. Barriers smashed. Muff SDR, Bathurst is going to be tough. I definitely need to get a lot of practice in. You are not wrong. Bathurst is always tough. So, yeah, you're going to want to practice. But I think that race, more than any, because the mountain can eat cars, and somebody in the chat tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me you don't have to be very fast at Bathurst. You can run 206s. Depending on who you're up against. But I think it's more important that you don't baff a wall coming down the mountain. Right? If you can avoid touching anything coming down the mountain and just slow, not slow, but let's say comparatively slow, but consistent, I think you have a better opportunity to place higher than you would if you thought you were going to do 201s and bash every lap down without making a mistake. And our first laps just now starting to come in. Marcos Manaluk, Terrell Sainz-Taylor, and your boy Blue all setting laps one right after the other. Your boy Blue so far with a 151.1, and there Mike Jones breaks that down. Mike Jones jumping to the top, and Bob Charlton getting even lower. We're going to break that 150 here today. I can feel it. SDR, you're definitely correct. Not crashing would be the most important. And that's the thing about Bathurst is there's a lot of other tracks. I mean, if we look at Monza here, if you can avoid trouble in T1 by taking the runoff, you really lose nothing. Maybe a couple seconds of damage, but there's runoff space, right? There's grass on each side of the track. There's plenty of room that if you have to dive into the gravel, you dive into the gravel. Maybe you lose a position or so, but you're not spending 2 minutes in the pits. Once we're on the mountain, if you hit it wrong coming down, you're basically done. You more than likely may have to teleport back to the pits, which is going to eat time, and then do your repairs and everything else. You've really lost it at that point. Bob Charlton with a 150.217. Waiting to see if anybody else can tighten that down today here at Monza. But right now, BMW leading the charge with just under 10 minutes left to go in qualifying today. You see there on your screen, Charlton holding purple in sectors 1 and 3. Mike Jones, sector 2. Nikolai Tsiabuk and Alex Martin making contact. Charlton coming down under. There it is. We said we were going to get under 150 here in the M-Class race today, and there it is, a 149.815 from Bob Charlton, extending his lead over Mike Jones by just a skosh. Mr. Dunn in the chat. Now don't forget, folks, again, this is the final race of Season 3 that we're watching today at Monza. First for our AM and rookie drivers, and then the Pro and Silver split coming afterwards. But racing's not done at Box 3. It's Season 4. I think most of the rest of this summer, between the endurance races, you know, throughout the rest of July and into August, I think most of what you're going to see are the endurance races. You're going to see some casual events. We have a Watkins Glen event coming up on July 31st, a 3-hour endurance. But there's going to be a break between an actual, or between now, today, and an actual Season 4. So stick around for that. You're going to be able to catch those endurance streams right here at Box3 Motorsports on Twitch. But Season 4 will kick off a little later in the year. Don't forget, that doesn't mean that's the only thing going on. Xbox Racing is alive and well. Speaking of Monza, the guys just raced Misano in the opener yesterday. Monza coming back next week, July 23rd. Our Xbox Series X and S drivers will be over there. We'll be at the same track we're at today to continue Season 4 of Xbox ACC Racing at Box3 Motorsports. And the times keep coming in. Mike Jones now jumping down ahead of Stephen Dunn with a 149.420. 400ths faster than Dunn. How much lower can it go? Bob Charlton right now running about 0.2 ahead of his fastest. Andrei Semenov now on an outlap after qualifying 4th so far with a 150.142. Philip Dolchan looks to tighten up time a little bit. Has not yet set a lap for us today, along with Ridian Davis. I believe Ridian Davis is on a qualification ban for vehicle change, so he will be sitting in the pits throughout the course of this qualifying session. Right now, Steve Dunn and Mike Jones trading back and forth to see who's going to have this fastest lap. Stephen Dunn about 0.2 up, but Mike Jones still showing purple with that, so we'll see if Steve is able to pull that down, get himself ahead of Mr. Jones. Steve Dunn now a half second up on his fastest. Throw those deltas up there. Steven Dunn going to look to take up P1 position here if he can. So a few of our drivers here, and we'll see where this drops Steven Dunn if we've got a new fastest lap, and we do. Steven Dunn taking up pole position with just over 4 minutes left to go. Josh Butler right now 6/10 up on his fastest. Gonna put that Honda in the top 5 for qualifying today. There he goes, right up into P3. As Mr. Butler jumps himself up and decides to take the shortcut. It's like Mr. Butler might have decided to go a little deep into T1 and then not able to dial it back in. Your boy Blue 3/10 up. Alex Martin running 4/10 up right now on their fastest. Blue jumping up into P8. Welcome in, John. Thank you for being here, sir. Even done right now up there in P1, sitting at a 1:49.237 is our fastest lap today. Frank Reynolds, the Warthog, back at it now. Right now, half a second up on his fastest time. We have watched Frank with great interest this season, has done a very good job. Let's see where that jumps in P12 currently, and no, gonna break even on that, losing some time. Right there at the end, but Nikolai Tsiabuk, a full second up. Let's see where Nikolai can get to here. A full second, 1.2 seconds up on his fastest, pushes him all the way up to P5. Charlton making a run at Josh Butler, wants to have that row 2 spot on the inside going into T1. Steven Dunn, again, looking to set an even faster time during this qualifying session today. Just kicking his lap off, though. We'll see if he's able to bring it down a little bit. Frank Reynolds, another half second up. We saw this last lap, however, so we'll see if he's able to hold on to it this time, coming out of that final corner. So Frank Reynolds again unable to get himself moved up in the rankings as we're under the last minute now of qualifying today. Our front runners, though, we've got 5 drivers in the 149 range. Our top 5 going to be very close throughout the running of this 45-minute race. Steven Dunn, Mike Jones, Bob Charlton, Josh Butler, and Nikolai Tsiabuk. But no matter what, I mean, the next, 6 drivers, next 5 drivers, all in the 150 range sitting together. So it looks to be tight racing in Monza. Drivers reminded during the meeting today that, you know, calm down into T1. You're not winning in the first lap on a 45-minute race. You can lose in the first lap. You can't win in the first lap. Nikolai Tsiabuk scrubbing out his final lap of this qualifying session. Andrei Semenov looking to finish one more. Currently 3/10 up. Dropped it off to 2. Scrubbing a little. Mr. Ploop there as well, but Mr. Ploop already finished out. And Andrei Semenov able to move himself ahead of Philip Dolshan right there at the end in the last lap. And will now be P6 going into today's race. Marcos Manluk and your boy Blue still both out driving. Marcus finishing off. And Blue currently half a second off pace. And there we have it. Blue deciding it's over. As we get set for today's race. And there is your starting lineup. Right there on your screen. Stephen Dunn, Mike Jones in row 1. Bob Charlton and Josh Butler in row 2. Butler getting pushed out of the top 3 right near the end. Nikolai Tsiabuk and Andrei Semenov going to share row 3. Philip Dolshan and Mr. Ploop row 4. Marcus and your boy Blue in row 5. Terrell Saints Taylor and Frank Reynolds will bring up row 6 with Kenny O'Connor and Alex Martin in row 7 and Ridian Davies with that with that qualification ban starting in P15. But we have seen Mr. Davis drive quite well during this season. We'll see how far up in the rankings he gets before the end of this race. Again, 45 minutes today, tires and fuel required during the course of this race. As we wait, I just want to remind everyone again, come back next week. Today is the end of season 3. Out with the old, in with long endurance races. 12 hours of Barcelona, kicking off at 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time next Saturday, July 23rd. 50 teams, a full paddock at Barcelona next week. And you'll be able to watch all 12 hours right here, plus free practice and qualification and everything else. Provided, you know, the server holds up. Or 24, it didn't work out, but we'll see what happens. And if you can't make it next week, well, that happens. That's okay. You got stuff to do. It's summertime. I may not even make it next week. You never know. I'll be here, but I like to say that I might not be there. But 6-hour endurance series in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing is back for the finale on August 20th. 6 hours of racing at Mount Panorama. It's just going to be crazy. It's going to be scary is what it's going to be. But we're going to love it. Each and every minute of it. We will sit and wait for our drivers to hit the track. Always a long intermission here. Giving everyone plenty of time to set the last little tweaks to their setups. Get ready for this 45-minute race. Track temps of 32°C during today's qualifying and clear. No rain forecasted as of right now, so things will stay very clean. Our fastest lap from Stephen Dunn during qualifying of a 1:49.237. Put himself up there on pole. Finish out that season. Let's take a look real quick. I mean, given our qualifying standings, let's take a look. Daniel Reich, Nikolai Tsiabuk. Nikolai being up in 5th. Now, obviously, Mr. Ploop in 8th. It's Monza. Anything could happen. You all know this. It's going to be crazy. But Nikolai in a very good position to bring himself up into P2 during the course of this race. Daniel Reich not on track. So with Daniel not on track, Nikolai needs to hold his own. I mean, I would think if he could maintain P5, he's going to move up into P2. He's only 4 points off of Daniel. But it's all going to also depend on where Mr. Ploop finishes. Stephen Dunn in 1st, currently sitting 5th. Again, I believe would have opportunity to move himself up in the rankings quite a bit, depending on how Nikolai and Mr. Ploop finish today's race. Frank Reynolds doing very well, currently P6, starting today's race back a little further, P12, but I don't think it'll be long before we see him jump up. It's all going to come down to lap 1, E1, and how well these guys get through. As we said during free practice, though, the AM class drivers have done a much better job this season of keeping things clean than our pro and silver class drivers did. So that being the case, I think we're going to have incidents. I think it's going to happen. I don't know that you could ever avoid it. I don't know. I mean, you can, obviously, but given the nature of the track, given people are going to be nervous, someone's going to miss a break point. The question is going to be is how much trouble can everyone else stay out of when that happens? And that's going to start to line up where we see folks land. And again, though, it's 45 minutes. Lots of opportunity to make mistakes here at Monza. Zap, if we don't at some point name a season the Girthquake, I think we're doing it wrong. I really do. And today's race brought to you by Box3 Motorsports. If you're interested, exclamation point box in the chat. If you want to race, if you think you want to race, come and join us. We have a lot of fun. Our drivers lined up getting ready for today's formation lap. For our mandatory pit stops up there, get ready for this today. We are off. Stephen Dunn leading the charge out on our formation lap today. As we said, Josh Butler in his Honda had a top 3 slot, got bumped by Charlton right there at the end of qualification, but we'll wait to see where Josh can end up today. Hopefully he can hold the pace that we saw during qualifying and not have any trouble. And right there you see it. That is why T1 at Monza is so famous. A long, long straight stretch. 2 very, very tight corners means you are coming all the way down and braking hard to get yourself through safely. Now, the other thing I'm going to be curious about here is, will we see someone decide to take a header through the runoff because you can? The game's not going to stop you. The sim is not going to stop you. And you can avoid a ton of trouble. And I'm not saying they should. I think that's dirty pool. But it'll be curious to see if anyone takes that opportunity. Obviously, if you're doing it to avoid trouble, I think that's perfectly acceptable. But doing it just to say, you know what, I'm not going to take a chance through T1 and T2, I'm just going to blow right through, that's dirty pool. And I would hope we wouldn't see that today. Right now, given the pit stop, given the minimum stop time and everything else, ACC TV says Nikolai Tiabuk will be our winner today. Andrei Semenov second and Marcos Maniluk in third. A lot of position gains there to have that happen. But we will continue to watch and see how the predictions change throughout the course of this race. But as I said, ACC TV currently predicting Nikolai Tsiabuk, today's race winner. Which, given, and you know what? Here's the thing. That's software. It's doing its best using the pit stops, everything else. And Dunn, you know what? You say that. It's a bold prediction. You're right. But here's the thing. We watched Nikolai for the last 2 races go from somewhere around P10, P11, and climb himself up into the top 5. Consistency and staying out of trouble. So now today, starting in P5, it would not surprise me that the software itself could make that determination, because Nikolai has been consistently moving up from quali to the end of the race and gotten faster and faster and again, been consistent and stayed out of trouble. As we get into double file, getting ready to head down into T1 at Monza. Drivers lined up, and let's see how much trouble we can stay out of for today's race. We go on board with Mike Jones. And we are green for today's race. Stephen Dunn pulling out ahead on the inside, clearing Mike Jones by a good distance down into T1. Your boy Blue is tight. We're going 3 wide towards the back there. You can see it as everyone backs down, and we've got our first push into Charlton. Stephen Dunn running through, but everybody else backed up, and we are sideways in T1. Good afternoon, WRX Wing 73. Welcome in. Amazing how much trouble that caused, given how slight of a push it was. It really wasn't that bad, but it was certainly enough. As apparently the cars have decided to start sinking into the track, and somebody taking the runoff. My lord. Andrei Semenov jumping all over the place as he decides to run off into the tarmac to avoid trouble. Josh Butler quickly dropping the ranks as he is spun out. Nikolai Tsiabuk lost 2 positions so far, currently sitting in P7 behind Marcus Manolak and with Philip Dolchan in chase. But Dolchan and Terrell Seeds Taylor making contact. Stephen Dunn blasting out at the start of this race, leading by 2.5 seconds already over Mike Jones. Mr. Ploop moving himself up very quickly as Nikolai Tsiabuk gets around Marcus Manolak, looking to gain those 2 positions back that he lost. And now Nikolai off into the grass as he loses another spot to Philip Dolchan. Bob Charlton, you see at the bottom of your screen, able to get around Frank Reynolds, but Reynolds not looking to stick with it. Going to take the inside, but not fast enough. And Charlton, who we saw at our top 3, now currently sitting in P12, the front end of that BMW not looking healthy at all. Your boy Blue all the way up into P4 at this point, with Andrei Semenov making a play. Down back into T1 we go. Round 2. White. Now, who's the winner in today's race? You see him right there in that, again, fancy dragon livery right behind Kenny O'Connor. Ridian Davis up into P9 after a P15 start due to a quali ban for vehicle change. Nikolai Tsiabuk, we saw him earlier running off track, now back into P11. Terrell Seeds Taylor, his next piece of competition. Taylor running just wide enough for Nikolai to sneak through the inside. But right there behind him, Bob Charlton, who, top 3 qualifier, folks. He's gonna make a push. Andrei Semenov able to get around ahead of my boy Blue up there for P4. But action right here with Charlton now able to get around Terrell Seens Taylor. So Nikolai Tiabuck and Bob Charlton both qual in the top 5. We got to watch both these guys as they try to get themselves back up. Philip Dolshan now around Marcus Manilek as Mr. Ploop takes over P2 as Mike Jones heads into the pits now. Your boy Blue all the way up, going to hold that P4 for now. But Mike Jones making a very early pit stop. Let's go check on him. It doesn't... I don't know. We're not seeing a lot of damage there. Unless he's already made repairs. But that was a very fast pit stop. And I'm not seeing a drive-through or a stop-go listed. So a little bit curious there. Yeah, he didn't stop. Oh, a drive-through penalty. Sorry. It just recorded it. So Mike Jones pulling a drive-through drops him all the way to the end of our 15-man run today. Kenny O'Connor with some contact, but Ridian Davis right there behind him. Oh my goodness, and Philip Dolshan now off into the dirt. But Dolshan losing a ton of positions. Marcus Maniluk back up into 8th now. Nikolai Tiabuck back into 7th. Kenny O'Connor fighting off Ridian Davis. All sorts of toss-ups here at the end of season 3. Your boy Blue sitting in 4th. Stephen Dunn leading by now almost a full 7 seconds. Clean air and the pace to hold, and a little slide there from from Ridian Davis. Marcus Maniluk. It looks like Marcus Maniluk and Philip Dolshan with contact. Let's rewind it real quick. Why are we on Frank Reynolds? That's not what I want. There we go. Marcus off track as we lose him in the dirt as he gets spun back there. Definitely looks as though there was contact at some point, though. Kenny O'Connor fighting off at Ridian Davis. Stephen Dunn, our fastest lap so far of today's session, 1:54.07 with 3 laps down. Mike Jones must be very frustrated having pulled that drive-through. Was sitting in P2 and now in P15 and heading into the pits again, it looks like. So maybe this time making his pit stop, decides to just get it done as we get some door banging going on between Davis and O'Connor. And Davis able to get around. Oh, Nikolai Tiabuck sneaks through back into P6 as O'Connor has a little struggle with some door banging contact. So Ridian Davis starts off P15 with a quali ban today. Now sitting. And Stephen Dunn, our race leader, in the grass. And there's Mr. Ploop, now less than a second behind. After Stephen Dunn was holding a 7-second lead, and Mr. Ploop takes the lead heading into Parabolica. Wow, Stephen Dunn dropping to P2. Stephen Dunn 6 seconds off his pace on that last lap due to running into the dirt. Ploop, the last lap we just saw was his best so far, a 1:54.35. With Stephen Dunn's best, again, we saw it earlier, a 1:54.07. So 0.03 of a second separating these guys. Ploop now the one with free air and clean in front of him until pit stops start winding up. You know, throwing back markers and everything in his way. So at this point, Mr. Ploop, opportunity now to run away a little bit. 2.3 seconds the gap so far. Terrell Seens Taylor off track, losing position to Mike Jones. So Mike looking to work his way back up. Marcus Maniluk in the pits and looking to stay there for the time being. Philip Dolshan with Josh Butler right there. Bob Charlton just ahead of them. Oh, and Phillip now. These guys like gravel today. A lot of smashed barricades around this track here at Monza. Josh Butler getting himself back into P9 now. Steven Dunn now under pressure from Andrei Semenov. Just like that, we've got a race for P2. Who's got the launch? That Bentley's got the straight line speed, but if Andrei can get that McLaren to launch, and he's got the inside line right now, can he keep a wheel up and take it into T1? As we listen to the hammer come down, and right there it is, Andrei Semenov now able to get around Steven Dunn to take up P2. And I should mention Andrei Semenov now with our new fastest lap, 149.875. So the first driver to break under 150 in today's race. 35 minutes left to go. Steven Dunn now down 2 spots to number 3. Let's take a quick look at our position delta just to see how the first 10 minutes of this race have gone. Mr. Ploop, 7 positions up so far. Semenov gaining 4. Your boy Blue up 6 spots. Look at Blue just killing it today. He's currently sitting in P4. He can keep that Bentley in line. He should do okay for himself. And as we said before, Ridian Davis, 10 positions gained since the start of this race after a qualification ban. Rain comes in and says, Davis for the win. I don't know. We'll see. He is certainly on his way in that direction. Car looks good. His driving looks good. We may see him at least on podium today. As we know, and look, nothing against Blue, but we know the pace difference between these guys as Ridian Davis now takes up P4 ahead of your boy Blue. Nikolai Tiabuk in pursuit right there behind them. Bob Charlton and Josh Butler now going to challenge each other. Josh Butler able to take up spot as Charlton heads into the pits. But Terrell Seens Taylor has cleared his mandatory stop at this point. At least as near as we can tell here. It's a timing thing, not a did they actually clear it thing. Frank Reynolds now under pressure from Mike Jones. So we'll wait and see if Charlton clears that pit stop. If that's the case, I mean, obviously looking to do a massive undercut down on track for the remainder of this race. And I'm trying to recall, and Zap, maybe you can tell me, is there a pit window for this? I thought there was window. I thought there were windows. I know the shorter races we have them, fuel only, so didn't know if we were going to see the same thing here. Kenny O'Connor once again coming under pressure from Josh Butler. Butler looking to get himself back up to where he started this race. No window. Okay, thank you. Buttons. Butler going a little deep into the corner now and going to lose some time. So Kenny O'Connor getting a little bit of a breather. Bob Charlton now clear of his mandatory stop. 54 seconds in the pits, however. A long time to be sitting still. And Butler decides to make some kind of move that sends him off now into the grass. Obviously was not quite paying attention there. I don't know if we can catch it if we go back 10. Yeah, not it's going to catch it. I really need a 15-second replay. Josh Butler now slipping to P10. Brandon Davis sitting up in P4 has done a fantastic job today getting himself back towards the front of this pack. We've already seen Charlton head into the pits along with Terrell Seens-Taylor, but it'll be curious to see when the rest of these guys start going in. I mean, a huge undercut by Charlton. So we've watched this tighten up front. Mr. Ploop now, you know, that time shrinking between Ploop and Andrei Semenov. Frank Reynolds clearing his mandatory pit stop. Well, we have season 4. Bublick? Is that Bublick 1? Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading that. Will there be a season 4? Yes, there will absolutely be a season 4. Season 4 is not going to start right away. It's gonna wait a couple weeks because next Saturday, right here, Bublick, we're going to have a 12-hour endurance race at Barcelona. You'll be able to watch that right here. And on August 20th, you will be able to watch 6 hours of Mount Panorama in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing, 2 other great leagues that we've partnered with for that series. That'll be the finale of our summer endurance series. And I got to figure out the timing because I haven't really looked that hard at it yet, but possibly July 31st, a 3-hour Watkins Glen endurance race right here at Box 3 Motorsports. So all sorts of fun stuff throughout the summer. Spread things out a little bit. As we come back into the fall, we'll look to open up season 4 and get it going on the PC ACC side. Sounds good, bub. Come on in and get signed up, get those roles on the Discord. Exclamation point box if you're not already there. For me, done, it's 6 a.m. So what, 4 for you probably? Stephen Dunn now into the pits, going to allow Blue, Davis, and Nikolai Tsiebuk all to move up. So Stephen Dunn going to clear that stop. Andrei Semenov not really closing that gap real fast against Mr. Ploop. Maybe biding his time, waiting to see when pit stops happen. Although Semenov has the fastest lap so far and was about 0.2 faster on the last lap over Ploop. So we're seeing it come down, but very, very slowly. These guys very similar in pace. So once they tighten this up, we may have a battle for the rest of the race just because of how close that pace is between the two of them. Andrei Semenov with our current fastest lap today of a 1:49.875. Don't forget, folks, stick around after this. Pro and Silver Class racing at Monza continues. We will have a 1-hour race right here at Box 3 Motorsports. You can stick around and watch that. We'll join them during qualification at the conclusion of our AM and Rookie Class race today. Dunn, don't listen, Dunn. Don't make promises you can't keep, man. Because like you say that, and then sometimes you don't show up, and it makes me sad. So you know, that's all I'm saying. And right there we have Ploop and... oh no, who's that? Yeah, it is Semenov. Okay, Ploop and Semenov now coming into the pits together. So as much as I want to pull away from the pits, and you know, because pit cams, how much fun is that? But let's see who gets launched here first. This is going to determine who our P1 holder is. Once these guys clear their stops, let's see who's out of the pits faster today. Mr. Ploop right there in the red up front. Andrei Semenov right behind him. A lot of drivers into the pits at this point. Nikolai Tsiabuk, Mr. Ploop, Kenny O'Connor, Mike Jones, all in at the same time. Which one of these drivers is going to launch first? We see the bounces, and both leaving at the same time. Damn, they couldn't have done it better. Now we get a battle, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we stuck with them the whole time. Very, very worth it as we watch Mr. Ploop and Andrei Semenov come out of the pits together. As we go for the launch down into T1. Ploop getting himself onto that racing line well before the end of the pit exit. So Mr. Ploop and Andrei Semenov coming out P5 and 6 respectively. About a second between them. Both of now here 0.3 of a second separated those pit stops. Mr. Ploop 35.9 seconds sitting in the pits. Andrei Semenov 36.2. However, Ploop 33.4 in and out. Semenov 32.9 in and out. So this is why we saw that you know, discrepancy where they both basically took off at the same time. Each one a little faster or slower depending on the where the pit stop was. So Andrei Semenov, the fastest driver on track so far today, 149.8, our only driver to do a sub 150 here at Monza, has now tightened it back up on the rear end of Ploop. You can see on the front of Semenov's car, no repairs done. Either not bad enough to bother him, or he did not want to take the time. And now we are going down into Parabolica, nut to butt. Semenov taking the lead right there, but for how long? And Ploop pushing out just a little bit, letting him know he's there. He's going to hold on one more time as we go back into T1. There it is, Semenov shooting down the outside. Oh, and again, Ploop pushing out hard off that corner. These guys doing everything they can to avoid contact, and Semenov gonna just rocket out of T2 to take up what will become P1. You see the contact there on your screen. They did bump. Mike Jones able to get around Alex Martin back here. Martin taking it back. We're side by side with it. Mike Jones the winner of that particular battle. Right now, your boy Blue sitting in second place. Andrei Semenov, our current race leader. Ploop going off into the dirt right there as we join. So going to open that gap way up. Now already over 3 seconds. Josh Butler coming up on the back end of Philip Dolshan now. Neither of these drivers haven't made that pit stop quite yet. Oh, and Dolshan throws it over the sausage curb. and has to head off into the gravel. And there's a new fastest lap from Steven Dunn, 149.772. Josh Butler taking up P3 as Philip Dolshan sits in the gravel. That gap continuing to open, and Dolshan, where'd he go? We lost him. I'd say we lost him. Philip Dolshan deciding that his race is over today. But Josh Butler, your boy Blue, Ridian Davis, all having not yet cleared that mandatory pit stop. Putting Andrei Semenov in provisional first place right now with a 4.3 second gap back to Mr. Ploop. Ridian Davis now into the pits for his stop. Let's pull that camera back. See who gets around him. Your boy Blue able to take up P1. That poor kid is shaking in the rig. That rig is vibrating, not because of the force feedback of his wheel, but because he is so scared of being in P1 right now. He doesn't know what to do with himself. Josh Butler into the pits as well. So the blue Bentley gets to lead this race for at least one lap today. Andrei Semenov still leading. Blue under pressure from Mike Jones. Now here's the thing. Jones qualified higher. We know he's got pace, but Blue's got position. He's gonna have to make Jones work for it, right? This isn't a blue flag situation.
Where
Blue.
O'Connor's going, but like I gave him the outside on a parabolica. So
Blue.
Oh shit.
Why is Blue muted, guys? Oh, I'm muted. Hey guys, why is Blue muted? I need to talk to him.
Hey, what's up?
Well, you're leading this race. We came in to check and see how scared you are right now.
I didn't even realize I was leading the race, so thanks, buddy.
No problem. But right there behind you, Mike Jones just tossed himself around the corner.
Yeah, you know,
good to know.
Fernando Cananoli and my team have really put together an awesome race strategy
Yeah.
for me today.
Does that include pit stop?
What?
Does
It
that
does
include
include a pit stop.
So, but here's the thing,
just-
Blue. Here's the thing. What I'm showing right now is that you are 54 seconds ahead of Andrei Semenov.
Yep.
If you can get in and out of the pits in less than a minute, you could hold on to the lead of this race.
Yeah, we have about 18 minutes left, and you know, I've got race engineers in my ear, and they're talking to me, and the tires are holding on pretty well. So
excellent.
You know, we got a big fuel tank in this Bentley, thanks to Vermont Sports Car.
People are
and
screaming.
Commentators curse as I go through fucking that
Yeah.
right there. But
All right,
it's a track cut.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna leave you alone. Go do your race, but we will be watching. All right?
Yeah, sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right.
Blue
Fernando
put sugar in my
Cananoli.
tank.
Who put sugar in my tank? Mr. Ploop getting around Steven Dunn right there to take up P3 again. Steven Dunn dropping one spot, and oh, Ridian Davis right there with him. So again, I'm looking at the time you guys are seeing up there on your screen. Now I don't know that this is accurate because it's showing Dunn 238 seconds back from Mr. Ploop. It's obviously not true. I think things sometimes get a little sideways. So is Blue really 54 seconds ahead of Andrei Semenov? Now that is entirely possible because he has not yet been into the pits. Is it a true 54 seconds? We're going to find out as we wait for Blue to head in and see if he's able to hold on to the lead of this race after his pit stop. So far, though, has decided his Bentley doesn't need tires. He's going to hold right on. Steven Dunn, Ridian Davis, our next closest battle. Mr. Ploop right there in front of him. As we watch these guys come down these straights, let's take a look again at our position delta today. Your boy blew up 9 spots during the course of this race today. Rydian Davis, the only one better, up 10. But even Andrei Semenov and Ploop, both doing a fantastic job, up 4 and 5 respectively. Kenny O'Connor, up 6. Some drivers with some really great races today. And we'll hopefully see that continue throughout the rest of this. Only about 16 minutes left to go. Rydian Davis and Stephen Dunn now gonna battle. Oop, right there. We're going for a 3-way battle for P3. Somebody wants a podium today. Even Dunn looking to the inside of Ploop, and it's not going to happen. Davis going a little wide through that corner, able to pull it back together. But we are side by side right here. As your boy Blue heads into the pits, let's see if Andrei Semenov can tighten this up and take over P1 again. Oh, and a push on Ploop. That looked like contact. All 3 drivers leaving the track. It is a battle and a half. Rydian Davis now up into 4th place. Now behind Mr. Ploop. Stephen Dunn's time still showing incorrect. We know that these guys are battling for position. And yes, there was contact between Ploop and Dunn through that corner. Ploop holding on. And Andrei Semenov able to get around your boy Blue, who still sits in the pits. An extended pit time here. These guys are going to come around and drop Blue back even further as he's just now coming out. Let's get back to the battle, however. So your boy Blue coming out of the pits in P5. Oh no, and just the sliding and the scariness of Stephen Dunn. So Steve Dunn able to make a cut and get himself into P2. He quickly gives it back to Ploop. So Ploop takes up his P2 spot. Stephen Dunn's right there. And Rydian Davis, who started out today with a quali ban, finds himself in a game for P2 of this race. And let's be fair, do not pay attention to that 500 seconds on your screen. Your boy Blue is right there as well. If these guys continue to battle and slow each other up, Blue has an opportunity to jump right back into a podium position in this race. We've already seen several mistakes from all of these drivers. Well, and then Blue goes off into the gravel as I cheer him on. We've already seen mistakes from all 3 of these guys, Ploop, Dunn, and Davis. So it's not outside the realm of possibility for Blue to tighten that up and make this a 4-way race for P2. Off Mannequin with the Prime sub. Thank you, sir. Oh, and side by side down to Parabolica we go. Bloop losing position to Stephen Dunn here, possibly, but Dunn on the outside. Can he hold on to it? Not quite. Let's see who's got the launch speed. That Bentley is very quick in the straights, and Dunn has pulled it right up on under the tail of Ploop. As he goes for the swing to the outside, Ploop guarding the inside of that corner. And more door banging as Ploop gets baffed off to the side. Losing position to both Dunn and Rydian Davis. Davis now taking up P3. Oh, and a push there. Ploop and Steve Dunn again with contact earlier. Davis in the middle now. Yeah, now Ploop is suddenly 5 laps behind. I don't know what's going on here. Your boy Blue able to catch up, as we discussed, right? These guys made mistakes. They door banged. They had to battle each other. It slowed them up. Your boy Blue now right there with Mr. Ploop, at least looking to make a play for P4. As Steven Dunn and Ridian Davis spread out up front. Andrei Semenov, though, 16 seconds to the good. It is his race to lose. As we show a yellow flag on Josh Butler right now. And Butler struggling with the Honda to get it back on track. Bob Charlton and Kenny O'Connor are about to do battle. Things now calming down as we come into the final 10 minutes of our first race today. AM and rookie class drivers. As we said earlier, don't forget, stick around. Pro and Silver coming right after this. We're going to join those guys during their qualification at the conclusion of this race today. The ultimate race, the final race of Season 3 here at Box 3 Motorsports. ACC. I want to thank everybody for joining us. You guys are fantastic for being here. So we got Mr. Huff Manic in the chat, Zap Brannigan, Manu, who left our race today. Manu, you shouldn't have left. I get why you did. Mr. Ploop, white flag now. Struggling a bit. Nikolai Tsiabuk able to get around. Mad and nervous and didn't have like, yeah, I get it. No, like I said, I get it. I understand. Nikolai Tsiabuk getting himself up into P5 at this point as Ridian Davis looks to close in on Steven Dunn. And with just under 8 minutes to go, he obviously has an opportunity to do so. Josh Butler driving angry today, ladies and gentlemen, as we watch Frank Reynolds come around. Butler losing position to Reynolds right there. Josh with some struggles today, pushing a little hard in that Honda. Not quite able to keep control. Qualified wonderfully, did a great job during qual. We catch up with Steven Dunn and Ridian Davis. Ridian Davis just wants to close this gap down and pick up P2 for the end of this race. Manu, what are you making? What are you cooking? Steven Dunn, very fast. Obviously, we've talked about this. One of 2 drivers now during the course of today's race to break under 150 for race pace. Not qualifying. We had 5 149 qualifying drivers, but Steven Dunn and Andrei Semenov, the only 2 to break under that 149 spot during the course of the race itself. Andrei Semenov absolutely Well, I gotta say, Andrei Semenov, Ridian Davis, and your boy Blue absolutely having the best race they could possibly have today. Semenov has gained 5 spots to get up there into number 1. Ridian Davis 12, up 12 spots after the qualifying ban today, started today's race, and your boy Blue up 6 spots during the course of today's race. A fantastic run for him. Just great driving from Blue. Okay, Manu, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try it, Manu. For you, I'm gonna try it. He is gonna fight with Seabok. Actually, there is no fight with Seabok. Seabok just took him. I had looked away for a moment to do something else, and I missed it. And with the timing screwed up, I can't tell they're right next to each other on my screen. Nikolai Seabok able to take up P4 from your boy Blue. Let's roll it back 30 seconds. We're gonna go check it out. Blue with a little warble coming out of the corner right there gave Nikolai the opportunity, even through the grass, to take up that position right there. As I've said, Nikolai has had a fantastic season. Qualifies mid-pack, ends up working himself towards the front every race. He has pace, he has consistency. He's one of my favorite drivers to watch. He does a fantastic job as we watch him cement that lead over your boy Blue. And again, timing screwed up. We don't see that they're that close together. It makes things difficult. All right. So I'm going to guess. And again, Manu, this is a guess. I'm doing my best here, okay? Guiso de fideos con pollo. The guiso, the first word is the one that's screwing me up. And probably fideos. I'm probably getting that wrong as well. But pollo, I know. I took Spanish in class. I know double L's is a Y sound, so I know pollo, that's chicken. I don't know what the rest of the stuff is. Mike Jones. Let's take a jump back real quick. Mike Jones battling Frank Reynolds. Mike Jones sitting in P10 right now, your current fastest lap holder with a 149.750. He's got the inside line on Frank Reynolds heading into T1. And cements that. Frank sliding back to P10 now. Mike Jones getting himself up into P9. 3 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first of 2 races today. Don't forget, folks, don't leave after this. Stick around. Pro and Silver Class Racing kicks off right after to this. Oh, and Frank Reynolds losing it off into the gravel. That'll definitely slow him down. And now going to allow Josh Butler to maybe close up a gap and get himself into the top 10. If Butler can get that Honda under control here at the end of today's race. Vegetable and meat stew with chicken and noodles. Perfect. Now I need to come see Manu because that sounds really, really good. Oh, and Frank Reynolds with a little nudge on Butler, going to take the inside. Butler able to get ahead, and he's got the inside heading into T1. Frank reminding him that he's there. The Warthog don't play. And Josh Butler able to get himself back into the top 10 here at the end of the race. 1 minute and 15 seconds left to go. Let's check that position delta one more time. Rydian Davis, the absolute driver of the day, up 12 spots into number 3. Going to land on the podium if all things hold. But let's not discount Andrei Semenov. And as I said, your boy Blue gaining up 5 spots to get all the way up there where they are right now. Fantastic driving from all 3 of those guys. And now Mr. Ploop and Bob Charlton, they're going to take it right to the end. Take me out with you? All right, well, let's go. I'll come down and visit. I get good food. I stuff you in a suitcase. I bring you back to the United States, and then we smuggle you across the border into Canada as Bob Charlton takes up P6 over Mr. Ploop. We'll get you up there with Zap, because, yeah, maybe you want to go see Zap. I don't know, or you can hang out with me. It's whatever. Canada, U.S., you know, they would both work for you. Are you a little feller, though? Because I don't have big suitcases. I got to fit you in like a medium-sized suitcase. You have to be a little feller. Bob Charlton again taking up P6 here at the end of the race. Andrei Semenov 14 seconds up right now, looking to finish out season 3 with a win at Monza. Stephen Dunn clawing himself back up to P2 after a rough start at the beginning of this race. Cat in a PC, that's just another suitcase. I bring 2. We'll be fine. We'll work it out. It's no big deal. McLaren coming across the line today at Monza to be the winner of the final race of season 3. Andrei Semenov throws it down, climbs himself up 5 positions to win the Monza race today. Stephen Dunn coming across for your P2. And coming out from P15 at the start of this race, Rydian Davis taking P3. That is your podium for the AM Class race here at Monza, Season 3 ACC PC Racing. Nikolai Tsiobuk and your boy Blue finishing up P4 and 5 respectively. Charlton coming across P6. Mr. Ploop with his 7th position finish. Kenny O'Connor in P8. Mike Jones coming down the back stretch here. A bit of a gap. Gonna be P9. And Josh Butler in the Honda looking to finish out P10 today. Some great battles, some great driving. We saw Stephen Dunn with the fastest lap of today's race, a 1:49.330. Taking that back from Mike Jones right here at the end of the race. And there is your top 10 with Mike Jones and Josh Butler finishing it out. As we said, Frank Reynolds looking to finish in P11. And Alex Martin will finish in P12 today. The rest of our drivers having left us for some crazy reason. Including Manu, who had to cook. All right, folks. So we are ready now to head over to the Pro and Silver Class Racing. Already in progress. Their free practice should be in progress when we get there, if not qualification. So we're going to jump in. I'm going to take a little break because it's nice to have a break between races, and the next race is an hour. Our Pro and Silver Class race is a full 1-hour race. So we're going to get you guys in there. We're going to go take, we're going to get it together. 15 drivers so far. As I bounce my race software at the same time. We'll get you guys out on track for Pro and Silver Class Racing again right here at Monza. And we are in for an hour. As Will Green returns to track, we're on board with Will Green getting this kicked off for Pro and Silver Class Racing today. But before I take my break, let me just remind you folks, this is the last race of Season 3. Season 4 is coming towards the end of August. It's going to be fantastic. Don't worry. New tracks, all kinds of stuff. But Doesn't mean you have to wait until then to see racing here at Box 3 Motorsports. Why? First of all, now, not really first of all, that's actually second of all. So let's go to first of all. 12 hours of Barcelona, July 23rd, 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Watch it right here at Box 3 Motorsports. 12 hours, 50 teams on track. We've got a full paddock for that race, and we're going to go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's going to be actually closer to 7 p.m. by the time qualifying and everything else is done. So it's going to be like 13 hours of PC ACC sim racing. Be sure and join us next Saturday. It's going to be a blast. And as I said, 6 hours with 949 and Trackalicious sim racing. This last race coming up on August 20th, you're going to be able to catch right here at Box 3 Motorsports, but all three leagues are going to be involved. Mount Panorama is an absolute blast, and I encourage you to make sure you come back for that because it is 6 hours of pure insanity, and we're going to have so much fun. But with that said, as I said, I'm going to take a step away. I'm going to leave you on autopilot while we watch a qualifying session here with about 5 minutes left to go. Be back just in time for the race. It's going to be perfect. And I will talk to you all in just a moment. With that, folks, we are back and ready for this race, this 1 hour race at Monza. Let's run through it real quick. So far during this qualifying session, 32 seconds left to go. Christoph Artz with a 148. And yes, I got to update my stuff here. There we go. 148.220 from Christoph Artz, placing himself ahead of Will Green. Wait a minute. 20202. Shouldn't Will Green be... What am I seeing here? Because nothing for nothing, but 202 is faster than 220. We're going to kill it real quick. Wow, it's even worse. Apparently the software today did not like being rebooted in the middle of joining the server. So again, 15 drivers. We'll get our list here in just a moment. As we wait for qualifying to finish up, let's take a quick look here. There's your silver standings. Retro Coffin leading out in the Porsche with Gasolina. Number 2 in the Bentley. Both these guys in contention. Anybody's race today, we'll see. I don't see Gasolina on track, however. Nor Retro Coffin. Artem Kudasov sitting currently in P3 for silver standings. Jump over to Pro real quick. Remco Ottens leads the Pro standings. In that Porsche 9912 GT3R. Another one right behind him, Will Green. These guys only 3 points apart. Both drivers on track today, Remco Ottens and Will Green. Bias Gable in the new Audi Evo 2 sitting in P3 has opportunity here as well. It's anybody's game to the end of season 3 here at Box 3 Motorsports. Christoph Artz leading right now by 0.06 of a second with a 148.142. Ignore the times you see on your screen. We're going to turn that off again just so you guys can see those, because obviously the software is struggling today to keep up. Christoph Artz holding pole position for the start of today's race right now, 148.142. Will Green right there behind him, going to share row 1. Fernandez and Gray looking to share row 2 today. Anderson, Tobias Gable. As I try and figure out why this thing will not pull proper times. It still doesn't show proper times. Very strange. I'm going to take it away one more time. Try one last thing, so before we do this. Can't even clear data, so it's not that. Okay. Throw it up there. All of our drivers now into the pits as we wait for this race to get started. Daniel Pickett back in the Pink Pig Porsche. As we said, let's throw those standings up one more time in our pro class drivers. Remco Ottens currently leading by 3 points over Will Green. Will Green having missed 2 races though. We can just see what happens today. I mean, again, it's Monza. It's anybody's game in T1. It's going to come down to how much trouble folks can stay out of. But Tobias Gable, who has been very consistent, relatively. I mean, if you look, I mean, 4, 3, 7, 5, 2, done very well this season for himself. Currently sitting in P3. John Gray, 3 Porsches in the top 5. And Brian Canopin missed the last 2 races, is not on track today. We'll be dropping back in those standings for our pro class drivers today. Silver again, Retro Coffin, Gasolina, Artem Kudasov. Kudasov on track. No Retro Coffin and no Gasolina, which means, I don't know the point spread, but Artem Kudasov with the ability to at least move up into P2 today before the end of the race, or at the end of the race. As we said, Christoph Arts, Will Green leading us out in row 1. Christoph Arts with some struggles this season. We haven't seen him hold a pole position in quite some time, but now right back up there here at Monza. Will Green again in row 1 there with him. Wilson Fernandez and John Gray in row 2. Anthony Anderson, Tobias Gable sharing row 3. Daniel Pickett in the pig, and Remco Ottens in row 4. Andrew Haynes and Matt Comiskey row 5. Artem Kudasov, Brian Anderson in row 6 with Armand Petrovics and Rob Kesar in row 7. And G. Steven bringing up P15 for the start of today's race. As you see up there, formation ready to start. 1 hour of pro and silver class racing today here at Box 3 Motorsports. TG today driving the green Audi. Brought the green out. I know it was orange last week per our request, but now today in the green livery. As Christoph Arts leads off our formation lap. Wilson Fernandez back again today. One of 2 Mercedes on track. Christoph Arts leading in the BMW, but again, we've seen Porsches dominate this season 3 of ACC racing here at Box 3 Motorsports. The Porsche's not quite as stacked as we've seen them on previous tracks. Monza not playing to their strengths. No Ferraris with us today. Single Lamborghini there with Brian Anderson. But still a decent spread when it comes to manufacturers. So we talked about it before that AM class race, and we saw the incident. We saw a little bit of a pileup in T1. The question now becomes, is it going to be better or worse for our pro and silver class drivers? Throughout the course of Season 3, these drivers have consistently had more incidents than the AM class drivers have. And we talked about it previously in regards to, is there a confirmation bias there that they believe because they're faster, therefore their skills are better, therefore they can throw it into T1 like a madman? I don't know that that's true. What I do know, you know, we get a little Dunning-Kruger maybe going on as we discussed in the past. Let's find out today at Monza exactly how things are going to go. As we line up for double file, ready to kick off today's race. Waiting for the green lights to show and the green flag to drop. And with that, we are green. It was Will Green takes the, speaking of green, Will Green on the outside line, looking to get advantage on Christoph Arts right out the gate. Tobias Gable moving up into P5. Arts with the inside line down into T1, but they are door to door. And so far, very clean for all the drivers. Our pro and silver drivers pulling it off through T1 today. A little bit of a bump. Remco Otten's making some contact, but Christoph Arts able to pull himself ahead of Will Green. Green going to need to deal with Fernandez, and right behind him, Tobias Gable getting up into P4, as we said. And bumping right there, and oh, lordy Lou, it is a mess and a half. Wow, 3 drivers off track, all dropping hard. Contact between all 3. Let's back that up real quick. It all happened right there. Tobias Gable, Wilson Fernandez, and Will Green hemmed up in all of that. That lets Christoph Arts run out in front. Now John Gray in P2, Daniel Pickett sitting in P3. Whelpcake said it at the beginning of this broadcast, that second chicane can be the bigger problem in lap 1, and we just witnessed it as Brian Anderson gets himself ahead of Matt Comiskey, now taking that outside line. Comiskey taking it right back, though. Comiskey leading Anderson and Arman Petrovics. Petrovic on the outside with the lead. But can he carry enough heading down the straight to maintain it? So far, no. As Anderson picks it right back up. Daniel Pickett now into P2, fighting with John Gray. Remco Otten's right there with him. Anthony Anderson going to bring up behind him. And we're going to go 3 wide into T1 on lap 2. Daniel Pickett, the easy winner out of that corner. Remco Otten's picking up position over John Gray with a little bit of contact, but Pickett running away with it, getting himself a 1 second gap back to Otten's. And again, Anderson sitting right back there in that McLaren, just waiting for his opportunity. Remco Ottens, as you see there on the bottom of your screen, purple in sector 3 for that first lap. Tobias Gable now falling off quickly behind Wilson Fernandez. Will Green currently sitting in last place. You know, it's hard to say sitting up here in the booth that what, you know, who caused what and what the inputs were for those drivers, as Wilson Fernandez now yellow flagged and dropping back the rankings to P15. With contact of himself, meaning he hit a wall or something similar. Anyway, it's hard to say who kicked that off, right? But here's the thing. This has opened up Remco Ottens to hold on to the win for this season. With Will Green sitting in P14 and Remco Ottens sitting in 3rd right now over Daniel Pickett, or I'm sorry, over John Gray. If he can keep Gray at bay, if he can get ahead of Pickett, and even if he can't, if he holds on to this podium, that makes Remco Ottens our Season 3 Pro Champion. Christoph Arts now with a 2.3 second lead over Daniel Pickett. Remco having to play battle with John Gray means Pickett gets to run by himself. He has clean air right now and can just behave. And another push right there between the two of them. Oh, and is he going to take out Pickett? And he does. Oh, takes Pickett out with him with the push through. These guys dropping back quickly. Anthony Anderson pulls up P2 with Artem Kudasov in P3. So Kudasov moving up now. That was just horrendous, and we are stacked with Remco Ottens. Daniel Pickett now leading this. Ottens off track with a wicked rejoin. losing more spots. Daniel Pickett leading a pack now of Haynes, Keesar, Anderson, Ottens, and Petrovic, along with G. Steven and Tobias Gable. These guys are stacked going into lap 3. Will Green now in the pits, sitting. And now we get to sit back and watch how Daniel Pickett's nerve holds up as he starts to feel pressure from drivers behind him who possibly have a faster race pace than he does. Can he play defense throughout the remainder of this 55 minutes of racing? Pickett now coming up on the back end of Comiskey. As Tobias Gable is in a battle right now, actually, with Armins Petrovic. Petrovic going way wide, allowing Tobias to pick up P11. Comiskey and Pickett continue to battle here down into T1 one more time. Pickett takes the spot, and Comiskey gets pushed by Haynes. Comiskey dropping 5 spots right there with a push from Haynes, and Daniel Pickett runs away now 3.3 over Keesar. Remco Ottens, though, is going to come up on the back end of the Porsche of Rob Keesar now, and we're going to have another battle. Tobias Gable now into the pits. As Keesar throws that Porsche into that corner, trying to keep Remco Ottens at bay. Anderson and Comiskey right behind these guys battling as well. Ottens, he can get far enough ahead coming into the corner and hold on to it. And there it is, able to cut in and chop the nose of Rob Keesar to hold on to P6. Brian Anderson, as I said, though, under pressure from Comiskey. And another battle behind these two between Andrew Haynes and G. Steven. G. Steven on the outside, not able to hold on to it yet, but can he get more speed out of this corner? Armins Petrovic's right there with him. As the battles continue, Anderson and Comiskey coming back together. Comiskey able to get the launch out of T2. Bring himself up to P8 now. Andrew Haynes right there to looking to take advantage on Anderson. As G. Stevens and Armins Petrovic battled in the back for P11. Steven going wide and opening the door for Petrovic. He walks through. Anderson and Haynes battling just ahead of him on track. Armins Petrovic getting himself now up into P10. Daniel Pickett continuing to do a fantastic job today, currently sitting in P5, has done very well for himself through all the carnage to get up there, and continue to play enough defense to hold it off. Now, Remco Otten's about 1.5 seconds back. We'll see if we're going to get these two to do battle as Matt Comiskey and Brian Anderson come back together. And Christoph Artz just running with this now, 3.6 seconds over second place Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson with the fastest lap so far during today's race of a 1:49.265. Faster than by about 4/10 over Christoph Artz. Guys, I'm going to do this just because it never happens. It never happens. This, in my almost 1 year of broadcasting for Box 3, this has never happened. I don't believe this has ever happened before. There is Will Green, currently sitting P13. Just throwing it out there. Tobias Gable, P14. That's a sentence I've never had the opportunity to say, so I'm just going to say it real quick. Now we're going to jump back up here and wait for Remco Ottens to see if he can close in on Daniel Pickett. G. Steven now out of the pits, having cleared that mandatory stop. Will Green, Tobias Gable, both with damage as they went into the pits. Will Green, 51 seconds, 51.7 sitting in the pits, and Tobias Gable, 46.4. Just fuel and tires is going to net you about a 31 to a 32 second pit stop. So obviously those guys both with damage to fix while they were in. But the Porsches are lined up. John Gray, Daniel Pickett, Remco Ottens, and Rob Kiesar, all one after the other. Christoph Artz continues to lead. Anthony Anderson holding on right now in P2, with Artem Kudasov having a great race in P3. After all that carnage in the opening 10 minutes, let's just take a look real quick at the position deltas for today. Christoph Artz able to hold on to P1. John Gray in P4 holding steady. He must be happy. However, Anderson and Kudasov, the big winner right now, up 8 spots from the beginning of this race, putting himself into that P3 position. Daniel Pickett doing very well for himself, along with Rob Kiesar, up 7 today. Will Green, the ones losing the most, however, currently sitting P11, while now having lost 12 spots as he is off track and struggling. Damage there, the hood of that Porsche not looking good at all. As we check in on Matt Comiskey. So right now, Remco Ottens is in the best position to win the Season 3 championship. Obviously, there will be incidents reported to the stewarding team that will need to be resolved before we have the final tally. I do want to take a minute and thank everybody. Thank you so much for all the people that followed the channel today. We do not have those announcements turned on during the course of a race, but I do want to thank everybody that gave us a follow today. You guys are fantastic. Come back. We are back next week for a 12-hour race at Barcelona. You'll be able to watch the entire coverage right here at Box3 Motorsports. And August 20th, we return with our Summer Endurance Series in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Race Leagues. Come back here and watch 6 hours at Mount Panorama. Again, that's on August 20th right here at twitch.tv/Box3 Motorsports. Check in on Christoph Artz, holding his own up front, now a 4.3 second gap back. And again, Art's just opening it up 4.3 seconds. It's very good gap here to have going into still 45 minutes left to go. But that gap just continuing to extend. Artem Kudasov about 4 seconds back with that flux in there off of Anthony Anderson, currently sitting in P2. Our drivers have spread out at this point. Rob Keesar, Matt Comiskey starting to come together. Rob in that Porsche. Down into T1. As I said, Anthony Anderson so far with the fastest lap today, 149.265. It's interesting though, Tobias Gable holding on to Sector 1 purple, Sector 2 purple going to Christoph Arts, along with Sector 3. So really things very spread out, but I don't think surprising given what happened during the first lap of this race and the incidents we saw. We have some fast drivers such as Will Green, Tobias Gable, who are way down in the rankings due to incidents at the beginning of this race. Eastar again today having a great race himself, currently sitting P7. Excellent consistency out of Rob. John Gray starting to tighten up on Kudasov just a tad, under 2 seconds now. As our Porsches continue to be lined up, other than Will Green sitting in P14. But 4, 5, 6, and 7 all filled with Porsches. Keesar and Comiskey keep coming together. That rubber band action, that accordion playing against these two. Keesar able to get a great launch down the back straight and open up the gap against Comiskey. Brian Anderson behind him looking to close up as well. John Gray and Artem Kudasov, our other close battle at this point. Waiting to see if these guys can tighten up and give us something to watch. Tobias Gable getting himself back up into P12. John, love you too, man. Glad you're still hanging out with us this afternoon for Xbox. What am I saying? PC ACC racing at Box 3, man. You're awesome. Will Green has made 2 pit stops. The last one, 63.4 seconds, Huff. He was in there quite a while, so Will not having his best race of the season, that is for sure, as we watch Rob Kisar come under pressure from Comiskey. But we got to jump up front real quick. Artem Kudasov now. John Gray having closed this gap up to the Audi. John looking for a podium today. Kudasov running that new Audi Evo 2. He's had a pretty good season so far. But John Gray again wanting for that podium for this final race of the season. John Gray right there now, able to tighten it up through the chicane. Looking for an inside track, and Kudasov not giving the room. Comiskey and Kisar right back here as well. These another battle forming up. And Anderson creeping in there as these guys fight and slow each other down. Anderson's able to reel them in bit by bit. We could soon have a three-way battle here if these guys aren't able to break it up. We get to see once again coming out of Parabolica if Comiskey's on the outside is able to get a bigger swing as Daniel Pickett heads into the pits. Otten's picking up spots. Oh, and Kisar sliding through the runoff. Comiskey able to take over P6, and right there, Brian Anderson getting the jump as well. Kisar just looking to run a little too deep into T1 and just was not able to hold on to it as we jump back up here. Artem Kudasov holding off John Gray. John Gray with the inside line, though. And able to take up that podium position we talked about. Kudasov trying to hold on as best he could. But now John Gray up into P3. .36.5 minutes left to go in today's Pro and Silver class split. We continue to watch Artem Kudasov looking at he wants that spot back so bad. You can taste it. Tightening right up on the back end of the Porsche of John Gray now. Ay, oy vey. And Gray, Kudasov able to take it back for about a split second and then lost it through T1. John Gray able to hold on, and now that gap has just opened up a little bit. Andrew Haynes with some issues in the back. Daniel Pickett now has cleared his pit stop and is out in P11. John now starting to extend that gap as Kudasov runs deep off into the gravel back there. Now a 2.5, 2.8, almost 3-second gap up to Kudasov. Remco Ottens right behind him. As Matt Comiskey, Brian Anderson, and Rob Kesar. Now this trio, we've seen these guys have run-ins before. So as our pit stops start to happen, and wait and see if we can draw them back together in the second half of this race. 34 minutes now left to go, just over the halfway point. Rob Kesar heading into the pits. We check in on Christoph Artz, leading right now. 8.4 seconds over Anthony Anderson. As we said before, John Gray taking up P3 over Artem Kudasov. Now Matt Comiskey and Brian Anderson coming back together. Rob Kesar out of the picture this time, having gone in for his pit stop. Not going to stop these two from throwing down. And as things spread out, folks, with about half the race left to go, I am going to take a quick step away. I will be right back, and we will leave you on autopilot as we keep an eye on our drivers this afternoon. Plenty of pit stops left to go, so a lot of tussling about still to happen. But it has been what I could call an eventful race so far for our pro and silver split. So I will return in just a moment. As you guys continue to watch our drivers perform this afternoon. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are watching as our race leader, Christoph Artz, heads into the pits. Everyone, again, staying relatively well spread out. Andrew Haynes dropping due to his pit stop as he comes in. Christoph Artz clearing his right now. Brian Anderson and Armand Petrovic still needing to clear. Welcome in, dead last. Thank you for being here. As now Brian Anderson heads in, Petrovic's moving up into P1 as he heads around into T1 one more time. Continue to watch the gap back there between Remco Ottens and Matt Comiskey to see if they start coming together, as well as John Gray and Artem Kudasov for P4. Take a look again at that position delta today to see who has done the best. Now, again, Armand Petrovic, it's hard to say, he's gone up 12 spots, but has not cleared that pit stop. Same with Anderson, have not cleared Anderson in the pits now. We'll see what he holds on to when he comes back out. But really today so far, our best is Artem Kudasov, doing very well. Anderson still up 7 positions. John Gray moving up now as Anderson looks to clear that pit stop and starts to drop back off. Petrovic, though, I'd love to see what happens as Armand clears his pit stop to see where he lands and exactly what's going to happen today. Will Green now back into the pits, not having his best race of the season, to be sure. Christoph Artz now in P2, 32.3 seconds back off Petrovic as we wait to see where that comes out in the wash with pit stops. Thank you, dead last. Much appreciated. We do our best around here. Provide all the on-track action. We don't catch everything, but we do our best. And if you like the broadcast, if you enjoy watching racing, we got plenty of time right now. Let's take a quick look. We're going to jump over. Next Saturday, 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can come right back here. You can listen to me run my mouth while these guys drive. 50 teams for 12 hours at Barcelona next Saturday. Again, 10 a.m. UTC, 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will be here for the entire time. Free practice, qualification, and the entire 12-hour race. And if you enjoyed that, don't forget, August, a little over a month from now, we're back at Mount Panorama in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing. We will be back for 6 hours of endurance racing at Mount Panorama. That mountain loves eating cars. If you don't show up for, look, if you can't make Barcelona, I get it. It's 12 hours. That's a huge amount of time. You got to dedicate 6 hours to come watch Mount Panorama. It's going to be intense. It's going to be insane. Things are going to be all over the place. Again, 949, Trackalicious, Box3 Motorsports coming together to put that series, the summer 6-hour endurance series together. And the finale comes next month. But as I said, I can't wait for next week. Barcelona, 12 hours. It's going to be fantastic. Daniel Pickett finding himself back up in P5. Daniel having a great race today. You know, Pickett is one of those drivers who I've always found finds himself in trouble that is usually not of his own making. He gets hung up in incidents. It's just one of those things of you see him tangled up in stuff, but it, again, is not something that usually he is the impetus of. He doesn't create the problem. He gets wrapped up in the problem. So great to see him doing well today. Currently P5. He's only 1.3 off Kudasov right now. So really has an opportunity to tighten that up. Maybe get up into P4 for the finale of this season. Dead Last, thank you for the follow, man. Come back anytime. We would love to have you. Still pretty green at sim racing, but would love to do an endurance one day. You should absolutely do it. I personally, I have never done one. It's gonna be crazy. Great point, Huff. We do have a 3-hour endurance at Watkins Glen coming up on July 31st. If anyone would like to participate, exclamation point box in the chat will get you to the Discord, allow you to join in on those events. I do not have a poster for Watkins, so I need to get that and grab it for next week's endurance race, so I have it available. Armin Petrovic still staying out right now. No pit stop for Armin. He says, I'm going to hold on to this as long as I can. Just over 19 minutes left to go in today's race. Our best lap so far during today's race, 149.390 from Christoph Arts. As we see Armin stay out for one more lap. Daniel Pickett continuing to close in on Artem Kudasov. This may be our battle that we get here at the end of today's race. There's always one. G. Steven now into the pits. Let's check in real quick on Remco Ottens, our current season leader, and right now running in 7th. With Will Green out of the race, really hard to say because I don't know the point standings, but if we take a look, Will Green now out of the race. Ottens 6 points up over Tobias Gable. Tobias running in 11th right now. I see Remco able to hold on to the pro win for this season. However, with the incidents that we've had during the course of this race, it may get very, very interesting until the stewards have had an opportunity to do their job and account for all of that. We see Remco there holding off Matt Comiskey. Daniel Pickett and Artem Kudasov continue to come together. Pickett closing that gap slowly but surely. And don't call me Shirley. Armand Petrovic now into the pits. There was a 32-second gap before he headed in, so we'll wait and see where he comes out. He's just now in. Christoph Arts taking up P1 as he comes across the line. Armand Petrovic still sitting in the pits. No movement yet, but Arts able to get around. John Gray clearing Petrovic as well, pushing him back to 3rd. And Kudasov and Pickett coming around. Petrovic dropping quickly through the ranks as these guys clear that pit, and that pit stop is very, very long as he's just now rolling out. May lose out of the top 10 here. With Anderson coming around right now, Keesar not that far off. So Petrovic's able to clear the pits coming out in P9. Keesar not too far back, about 2.8 seconds at this point. Kudasov up in 3rd with Daniel Pickett and Anthony Anderson right there. We have a 3-way coming together for the last 15.5 minutes of this race here at Monza. We've watched Pickett close to within about 0.3 of a second several times and then drop back a little bit. So you know, Kudasov knows this Audi. We've watched him run it all season. Pickett, of course, knows the Pink Pig Porsche, but there are certain portions of this track, I think, where the, you know, each vehicle or each driver is stronger, and it's allowed Kudasov to hold on to this lead so far. But no doubt, with only, you know, under 15 minutes left to go, that, you know, Pickett's going to start to push, and we see it tightening up here already. Coming out of Sector 3 is where we see that tightening, and then Kudasov just runs off with it through sectors 1 and 2 to open that gap back up to about 1 to 1.5 seconds. Dead last, just so you are aware, you will be required to change your name should you ever race against me, because I will definitely be last. As Pickett looks to the inside right now on Artem Kudasov, not quite able to pull it off through the chicane, but kept it clean. Little bit of contact between the two, it seems. Little door banging. And Anthony Anderson just about ready to join this fray as well here for the end of this race. Three-way battle for P3 coming towards the end of the ultimate race for Season 3 at Box 3 Motorsports. Artem Kudasov, Daniel Pickett, Anthony Anderson. Pickett coming up the inside on T1. Oh, and Pickett on the inside of Kudasov, and Anderson looking to follow him around through these big, sweeping, very fast corners. Kudasov again able to hold on, but just barely, as Pickett looks to have the inside on the next corner. Daniel Pickett pushes ahead. Anderson gonna sneak by as well. So Artem Kudasov dropping 2 spots just like that. If Anderson can hold on. And he does. Anderson able to pull it out and get ahead of Artem Kudasov here at the end of this race. 11 minutes left to go. Great clean racing from all 3 of these drivers. The interesting thing coming out of this is Pickett now able to run away, almost a 3-second gap up, as Kudasov and Anderson continue to battle for P4. And right there, Kudasov able to just rip by in that Audi heading into T1, but goes way too deep, has to take the cutoff and give that spot up to Anderson. We've seen that more than once today, both in the AM race and now at least twice during the course of this Pro and Silver class split. And again, because of the slowdown of the battle, Pickett able to run away, looking to finish with a podium today. Artem Kudasov dipping a tire into the grass. I'm sorry, Anderson dipping into the grass as he looks to hold off Kudasov. Tobias Gable now picking up a spot from Andrew Haynes back for P11. G. Steven finishing his race in the pits today. Gable and Haynes now. And a little bit of a nudge from Tobias Gable as he tries to come around. Reminds him, hey, nah, it ain't gonna be that easy. And the green Esper livery on the Audi. Just looking up there, Daniel Pickett now with a 3.3 second gap back to Anthony Anderson. Anderson and Kudasov's battle really giving Pickett the opportunity to secure that third place position if he can hold on to it. As we watch Haynes look to make a move on Gable. Tobias cutting in hard on that corner to ensure he can hold on to P11. And Gable going out wide, coming out of Parabolica. Giving Haynes the opportunity. We're going to go side by side into T1. What could be better at Monza than side by side at T1 when people are tired and stressed from an hour-long race with only just under 8 minutes left to go? Gable able to hold on to it one more time. This battle continuing right to the bitter end. Haynes able to sneak around Gable. Oh, and spins himself out. Let's focus on Haynes real quick and jump that back and see if we can see what happened. Right there, just cuts it right to the left and dumps off into the sand. Tobias Gable able to take up P11 and now going to hold on to it as Haynes is back on track, 8 seconds off the pace. Settle all your differences in T1. Yeah, you can fix all your problems. All the problems of the world can be handled in T1 at Monza. 100%. I would not disagree one bit. Folks, be sure and stick around after the race for just a few moments if you would. I would appreciate it. Hang out with me for just a moment. We're going to review what's coming up. Box 3 Motorsports. That's how you do it, Fife. You just hammer down over the curbs and you can jump yourself right into P1. We saw at least one person try and do that today. It didn't work out too well. Now with just 3.5 minutes left to go, Anthony Anderson still sitting in 4th place. Artem Kudasov not that far back. I mean, the gap hasn't opened exponentially, but certainly he's lost pace to Anderson. We look at their laps, their best, you know, Anderson with a 149.34, Kudasov a 149.44. Their last laps, Anderson faster as well, so by about a 1/10 of a second. So what we're seeing makes sense as far as how the spread is opening up on these guys. Daniel Pickett having a great race today, looking for a podium to cap off season 3. Let's take a look again at the position deltas. If we gotta pick a driver of the day, we gotta look at Pickett, we gotta look at Kudasov. Kudasov up 6 spots since the start of this race. Daniel Pickett up 4, but getting himself up into podium is an absolutely fantastic way to cap off season 3 of Box 3 Motorsports PCACC. The Awakening. And again, Pickett having a great one today. Just 2.5 minutes left to go. Brian Anderson, as opposed to Anthony Anderson, hoping to keep Armand Petrovic at bay with that 1.5 second gap for the next 2.5 minutes. Christoph Arts, though, the big winner today after the start of this race and the shenanigans in lap 1, able to pull away and have clean air for the majority of this race. Now 16.8 seconds over John Gray. With only 1.5 minutes left to go, definitely his race to lose. But again, as I said, Daniel Pickett, Artem Kudasov, today's big drivers with the positions gained and the race they've had. Just fantastic driving from both of them. Whelp cake, shortest distance is a straight line. Escape road it is. Don't make the rules. You're right, sir. If it's going to avoid me getting hammered in the rear end, I will take that escape road. Or from me plowing somebody in the rear end because I was an idiot and missed my brake point. Anderson again hoping to keep Petrovic at bay until the end of this race, but things are tightening up. Just under 1 second gap between them. Tobias Gable now yellow flagged. Let's take a look at real quick, and it looks as though Tobias has decided he's done. And now I'm going to take off again as we check in with Anderson and Petrovic. They're our closest here at the end of today's race. Anderson up 4 spots today. A good race for him. No fuel, TG says. That's not good. TG into the pits now. As Andrew Haynes takes up position over Rob Kesar right here at the end of today's race. Brian Anderson and Armin Petrovic's gonna fight it out right to the very end. Race timer now run down. Christoph Artz looking to come across the line in first place. But let's keep our eye on this battle right here. Petrovic's looking for the opportunity, waiting to apply that pressure and just looking out for any chance to get ahead as we come around here. Christoph Artz is your winner at Monza today. A great run from him. John Gray, P2. And there is Daniel Pickett landing on the podium in P3. A fantastic run from him. Anthony Anderson, Artem Kunasov, those are your top 5. Remco Ottens finishing P6. Matt Comiskey, P7. Brian Anderson, if he can hold on as we watch it right here to the end. There it is. Anderson able to hold on to P8 with Armin Petrovic in P9. Andrew Haynes coming across to finish out your top 10. Rob Kiesar already in the pits. It looks as though Kiesar may have had a fuel issue. But with that there at the end, and Tobias Gable and G. Stevens in the pits, Andrew Haynes will finish out your top 10 for today's finisher at Monza for Box3 Motorsports Season 3, The Awakening. Excellent driving from everyone today. Of course, we had our incidents. Those are going to happen. But overall, great races in both our Am and Rookie split along with Pro and Silver. Great driving from everybody today. As we let it come down with Andrew Haynes cutting across the line, coming out and again finishing in P10. And that is your top 10 for today. I do want to thank everybody for joining me. My name is Adam Thursby. This is Box3 Motorsports, exclamation point box. In the chat, we'll get you over to the Discord if you want to race with us. 100%. Love it. Good job from everybody today. Excellent run from Christoph Artz. Excellent run from all of our drivers. I'm going to do something different. I'm trying to remember to do this, and I think we should, because as a league, we are a community first. We are sim racers second, and we should do our best to support other sim racers wherever they might be, including on Twitch. So, everybody, please stick around for me. I'm looking to pick someone who only has maybe a couple viewers, only has a few folks sitting there, and we're going to go raid them to dump out of this. But before we do that, I don't want you to forget, next Saturday, Barcelona, 12 hours, right here in this chair. I'll be sitting here. You'll be sitting there. You're going to come and watch. These guys are going to drive. It's going to be fantastic. 12 hours, 50 teams at Barcelona. It's going to be fantastic. Also, August 20th, we're back for Mount Panorama. 6 hours with 949 and Trackalicious Sim Racing Leagues. Make sure you come back because we want to watch that. You're going to watch that as well right here at Box3 Motorsports. So everybody hold on. We're going to dump out. Let's go raid this gentleman. AOA Dromo. He's doing low fuel motorsports races right now. Stick around with me. Thanks so much, folks. And we'll see you next Saturday for 12 hours. It's going to be unbelievable. Thank you.